As with negative conduct, when you lie, you not only separate yourself from your higher self, but you also run the risk of being found out and eroding others' trust even more. With Chicken Soup for the Soul series, Jack Canfield had the policy to accept poems and stories that were clearly parables and fables. All the stories he printed in Chicken Soup were actually true, but the parables and fables were only just part of it. It was important to him because if the story was inspiring, he wanted the readers to say, if they can do that, I can do that as well. Occasionally, he found out that the contributor had fabricated the story and simply made it up. Every time he learned that, he ended up not using that writer's stories anymore. He no longer trusted such writers. Their word was no longer impeccable. In reality, lying is a product of low self-esteem. The belief that you and your abilities are somehow not enough to get what you want. It's also based on a false belief that you can't handle the consequences of the people knowing the truth about you itself, which is simply another way of saying, I'm not enough. If we look back through history, all the world's highest and most respected beings and spiritual leaders have warned us against gossip and judgment of others. It's because they knew how damaging untruth really is. Wars have been started over words. People have been killed because of words. Deals have been lost because of words. Marriages have been destroyed because of words. Not only that, but gossip and judgment affect you too, because you end up releasing a poison into the river of energy that is set up to bring you to which you truly want to have. When you speak ill of another to anyone else, it may temporarily bond you with that person, but it creates a lasting impression in the other that you're the kind of person who gossips negatively about others. The other person will always be wondering, even if unconsciously, when you will turn your verbal poison against them. It will erode their sense of deep trust in you also. Even without any words being ever spoken, others can pick up on your negative, judgmental, and critical energy toward them. Then what you say about others has a way of finding back to that person you're talking about. Many times people who care will call me and say something I know has been said about negative about me. What did that do to my relationship with them? It creates a subtle crack. Additionally, I've had to learn the hard way that when I gossip about another person, it brings me down for the moment, focuses my attention on what I don't want in my life, rather than creating what I do want, and literally wastes my breath. I've learned that I could be using my mental and verbal powers to create more of what I want to do and focus on my powers and words of abundance instead. To speak more impeccably when addressing others, make a commitment to be impeccable with your speech when talking to others. Make an effort to appreciate something about every person you interact with. Look for their positive aspects. Make a commitment to tell the truth as best you can in all of your interactions and dealings with others. Make a commitment to do it for 1 day, then 2 days in a row, then a whole week. If you falter, start over and keep building that mental muscle. Make an intention of every interaction with others that you uplift them in some small way. Notice how you feel when you do that. Often we use the words in a damaging way, not because we are bad, but simply because we're not paying attention. No one has ever taught us how powerful words really are. I remember when I was younger, I used to have a phrase, or I used to get told a phrase by my mum and dad. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never harm me. Unfortunately, that's not true. The power of words is more powerful than the physical attribute itself. I always remember, my brother's a fighter when he was younger. And basically, if anybody messed with him, he would just pan them. And that was it. That was the end of the story. But I was never like that. I always thought to myself, it's like the words are and the reaction is more powerful than the actual physical. I always thought to myself, I would never want somebody to have something against me, but I'd be happily, one hit or something like that. That would be the end of it. It would all be over. And it would be as quick as that. And you'd never need to worry about it because it's physical. It goes away after a while. Whereas the power of words don't. They stay around for a long, long time, and they play in the mind, and that will set you up for negative for the rest of your life, if you let it. So you've got to control that and make sure you don't do it. And this is the purpose of this. So I've learned how powerful idle gossiping is during my first years of teaching, Jack Canfield said. On the first day of the school, he walked into the teacher's lounge before he started school. One of the older teachers approached him and said, "I see you've got Devin James in your American history class. I had him last year. He's a real terror. Good luck." You can imagine what happened when Jack walked into class and saw Devin James. He was examining his every move. He was waiting him showing signs of terror he had promised him to be. Devin didn't have a chance. He was already typecast. He already had an image of him before he'd even opened his mouth. No doubt Jack was even sending him a short unconscious signal, "I know you're a troublemaker." That is the definition of prejudice. Prejudicing a person before you've even really got a chance to know them. I remember Michael Jackson once saying, "Don't judge me until you've walked many, many miles in my shoes." I learned never to let another teacher, or anyone for that matter, Jack said, tell me what something or someone else is going to be like before he met that person. He learned to rely on his own observations. He also learned that he treated all other people with respect and singled them with, through his speech and actions, that he'd have high expectations for them. Then almost most of them would live up to that in positive expectation. The biggest cost of gossip, of course, is that it robs you of a clear mind. People who are impeccable see the world more clearly, they think more clearly, and thus can be more effective in their decisions and actions. So the 4 agreements in Don Miguel Ruiz likens the process of gossiping, releasing a computer virus into your mind, causing it to think a little less clearly each time. Here are some practical ways to stop yourself from discouraging others and discourage others from gossiping. So the first one is change the subject. Say something positive about the other person. Walk away from the conversation. Just keep quiet. Clearly state that you no longer participate in gossiping about others. How do you know when you've been impeccable in your words? Well, when you feel good, happy, joyful, calm, and at peace with yourself. If you're not feeling these things, check your thoughts, check your self-talk, check your verbal and written communication with others. When you begin to be more impeccable with your words, you'll begin to see the changes happen in all areas of your life. And I'll see you tomorrow.